Okay, so Hashbang TV here at Droidcon London 2012, and we have our first speaker. We have Chiu Ki from Square Island. So, welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about what you've been speaking about at the conference, and what people can expect from your talk.
Sure. I'm going to be explaining how to do Android custom components. Essentially, in Android, there are text views and buttons and things like that that come stock with the OS, but sometimes you have to go further to make your app a custom experience. So I'm explaining how do you override the class, and then how do you, for example, do animations in it. And I'll be using my app, Monkey Write, as an example. It's a Chinese learning app, so that's an area where I'll show you a Chinese character, and then you need to trace it, and then it will grade you. And then if you make a mistake, it will use animation to show you. And there are other tricks like how do you make sure that the area is always a square, because Chinese characters are squares,
right,
and things of that kind. So it's going pretty deep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so how have you ended up being a well-known Android developer? How have you ended up at Droidcon as a speaker? What's your backstory? What were you doing before?
Wow, backstory. So I guess I can go way back.
Go as far back as you like.
I started Android development at Google, actually.
Okay.
I was on the Maps team, on the Android Maps team. And so basically, if you have used an Android phone, you have probably touched an app that I have written, because Maps is kind of universal. Everybody has a need to get somewhere. So that's how I got started. And then I was doing some other stuff for around like a year and a half, and then I came back to Android by way of a hackathon, actually. So I went to a hackathon, and I at that point it was a there were sponsors in the hackathon, and one of the prizes was a tablet that comes with a pen. And so I was trying to come up with an idea that uses a pen, so writing seems to make sense. And then ended up doing a writing Chinese app, since I'm Chinese. And I won the grand prize, and people really liked the app. So I took 3 months to actually bring it to market.
Oh, wow.
And that's how Monkey Write got started.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that must have been a really big kind of decision point for you to kind of, you're at Google and you decide to go on your own and kind of do your own business. That's a big decision, right?
Yeah, I kind of did the crazy way. So I actually left Google, and then I was at like 2 different startups for a year and a half.
Okay.
And then I decided that I want to go independent.
Yeah.
And I was initially going to come up with an idea while working with a startup, but then I realized that because I'm day-to-day working on the startup, my brain was just blocked on thinking. So I was just like, okay, this is crazy, but I'm going to just quit. So I give some room for myself to think, right? And then I just went to the hackathon, and then somehow that idea came by that way. I mean, I have no idea what will actually happen when I quit my job. So that worked out really well.
How long has it been since you quit?
I left the startup job last year in September, and I went to the hackathon in October. So that happened pretty
it's
quickly.
been basically just over a year since you started with no other income stream apart from what you get in.
Right. So I also do Android consulting.
Okay.
So that's what pays the rent.
Okay.
But I really like the way I'm structuring my time, because I'm my own boss. So, for example, when I get accepted to speak at conferences, I don't have to beg my boss to let me fly to London. I can just fly to London.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome.
So you mentioned you're in Europe for 4 weeks. You're kind of going around multiple conferences. Tell us kind of which conferences you're going to.
Sure.
And,
so there is Droidcon UK, which is where we are right now.
Yep.
And then November 2nd and 3rd is Droidcon Romania.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be in Bucharest.
Wow.
And I'll be flying in a little bit early to do some sightseeing. I've never been there. And then I'm going to be in Davos, which is a Java conference in Antwerp in Belgium.
Okay.
So then I'll be flying from Romania into Belgium.
Fantastic.
And trying to work remotely a little bit. I don't think I'll be sightseeing all the time, but I'm very excited to just see Europe. It's
And
nice.
what's been your kind of first impression of the developer community here in London?
I really enjoyed this conference a lot. I think part of it was before I came, I was Twitter stalking some fellow Android developers in Europe, so that I kind of know what's going on here, and I end up meeting them here in person, and that was just fantastic. And I feel like the crowd is really energetic here, and they deeply care about Android. You can tell when you talk to people that they know what they're doing, they know what they're talking about, and some of them like wrote libraries for other people to use, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It does feel properly open and collaborative, Droidcon, compared to other places, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really
I
does.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Good luck.
Thank you.